In this video, we're going to be tackling task 6, which is calculating the incremental net monetary benefit. And the first step in this task is to enter the cost effectiveness threshold. And there's a vast literature on what the cost effectiveness threshold is, what it should be. I'm not going to wade into that in this particular video. We're going to go to the setting sheet and we're going to enter the standard cost effectiveness threshold that is used in North America. It's used by CADF here in Canada, which is $50,000 per quali. So type in 50,000. And it'll take a few seconds for the spreadsheet to recalculate, and then it will mark this as correct. So that's step 6.1 complete. For step 6.2, we're going to conduct a mini exercise, and there'll be 3 distinct steps within this mini exercise. And the purpose of the mini exercise is to illustrate what incremental net benefit is and what the difference is between incremental net monetary benefits and incremental net health benefit. There are 2 distinct approaches. You can use either in a model. In this particular model, we're going to use net monetary benefit, but we're going to talk about what both of them are and why it's the case that you can use either of them. So we should see at the bottom that there is a new sheet that's appeared called mini exercise net benefit. Let's go to that now. And on this sheet, because it's a mini exercise, we're going to ignore all of the input values that we've used previously. The incremental qualities, the incremental costs that we calculated on the previous task. We're going to just ignore those. Let's use some very, very simple values so that we can illustrate the key points here. So just for the sake of example, for the incremental qualities, we are going to enter 5 incremental qualities into G20. So just put 5, press enter. And then incremental costs, we're going to assume are $150,000. And of course, in our model, in the main model, it's much more complicated than this. It's not exactly 5, it's not exactly $150,000. But using these numbers, these very round numbers, makes the calculations easier, makes it easier to illustrate the difference between net health benefit and net monetary benefit. And then for the cost effectiveness threshold, we're going to use 50,000. Okay, so that's 6.2 complete. Step 6.3 has been unlocked. So we're going to calculate incremental net health benefit. And there's quite a lot of text here. I'm going to let you read that in your own time. Let's tackle this. So there are 3 steps to calculating the incremental net health benefit. So first of all, net health benefit is reported in qualies. And the first step is to calculate how many qualies we gain. So the incremental health benefit. Notice we've not used the word net here, not yet. The incremental health benefit, that's in qualies. The next step is to calculate the incremental health loss. So the first step is how many qualies do we gain. The next one is how many qualies do we lose. And step 3 is to calculate the incremental net health benefit. So how many qualies do we gain net of those that we lose? Right, those are the 3 steps that we're going to do. Now, step 1 has already been done for us. Step 1, the incremental health benefit, is simply the incremental health benefit in qualies that we've entered here, the incremental qualies. Right, so that's been brought down for us already. When we're calculating incremental net health benefit, the difficult part is the second step. So what is the incremental health loss? And I'm going to let you read these long paragraphs explaining what the cost effectiveness threshold is, how you would go about calculating what that incremental health loss is. But all you need to know is that it is the incremental cost divided by the threshold. So let's enter that now. Excuse me. There we go. So $150,000 divided by $50,000 per quali equals 3 qualies. So the loss in health is 3 qualies. And then the final step is just to calculate the net health benefit. And it's as simple as taking the health benefit here, 5 qualies, and subtracting that loss. So 5 minus 3. So if we were using incremental net health benefit, where the incremental qualities are 5, we gain 5 qualies, but we incur $150,000 of cost, and for every $50,000 of cost we lose a quali, well, we lose 3 qualies, 150 divided by 3, 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, so that's how incremental net health benefit works. You just take the incremental qualies, you take the incremental costs and divide by the threshold to get the health loss, and you do the health gain minus the health loss to get the net health benefit. Okay, let's now move on to incremental net monetary benefit. This is step 6.4. Now, incremental net monetary benefit is a little bit different. So step 1 is to calculate the incremental monetary benefit. So it's not health this time, it's monetary, it's in dollars. Step 2 is the monetary loss. And then step 3 is to put these together to get the net monetary benefit. And if you recall with incremental net health benefit, step 1 was easy. It was done for us. And it was step 2 that was more difficult. Well, it's the other way around for net monetary benefit. Step 1 is difficult and step 2 is done for us. So step 1, I say it's difficult, it's not that difficult. We have to take the incremental qualies, that's 5, and we have to use the threshold to value them. So each of those 5 qualies that we gain is worth 50,000. So we're multiplying, right? So equals 5 multiplied by 50,000. So the value of 5 qualies is $250,000 because each qualie is worth $50,000. That's how incremental net monetary benefit works. Now, the monetary loss is simply the incremental cost, so $150,000. And then the net monetary benefit, the incremental net monetary benefit, is going to be one minus the other. So we take the 250,000 and we subtract the 150,000. So it's the incremental monetary benefit minus the incremental monetary loss, and that's a gain of $100,000. Okay, and before we continue, this is the end of the mini exercise. But before we continue, I think it is worth reading the text at the bottom here that mentions that they are proportionate. So, you know, an incremental net health benefit of 2 qualies corresponds to an incremental net monetary benefit of $100,000 because the threshold is $50,000. Each qualie is worth $50,000, and it's no coincidence that 2 multiplied by $50,000 gives you $100,000. Right? That's not a coincidence. So these two measures are proportionate. If you multiply the net health benefit by the threshold, you get the net monetary benefit. If you take the net monetary benefit and divide by the threshold, you get the net health benefit. And because the threshold is always positive, what that means is that if one of these is positive, well, then the other must be positive. So if you've got a positive incremental net health benefit, well, then you must have a positive incremental net monetary benefit, and vice versa. And for that reason, you only need to use one of these in a model. You can take your pick. You can use net health benefit, you can use net monetary benefit, but you don't need to use both. And so for this model, we're going to use incremental net monetary benefit, but you will see models that use incremental net health benefit, and that's completely valid as well. So let's go to step 6.5. That's calculate the incremental net monetary benefit for each cycle back in our proper model. So we're going to return to the main model. The incremental net monetary benefit sheet is now visible. So we go to D23 and we need to calculate not the incremental net health benefit, but the net monetary benefit. So if you recall, you take the qualies gained and you multiply them by the threshold, and then you subtract the costs. That's what we're going to do. So we need a formula that takes the incremental qualies gained. Well, that was on the incremental output sheet, and we calculated it. And remember, we're doing this for each cycle, so it's going to be this one. And we need to value that by multiplying by the threshold. So multiply by S underscore, and you can see S underscore threshold. There we go. So we've multiplied the qualies gained, the incremental qualies, by the threshold. We now subtract the incremental costs. So subtract, and let's go across, and we click on this one. So for cycle 1, D23, and then we press enter. And the first cycle is negative $1,000, and that's because in cycle 1, treatment B costs $1,000 more than A, but in cycle 1, it's not yet had a chance to actually have any benefit. So it's not a surprise that in cycle 1, if we go with treatment B, we're $1,000 down compared to using treatment A. Right? We're out of pocket by $1,000 because we've used the more expensive treatment. We've not yet had a chance for treatment B to really start, paying for itself by reducing the probability of patients moving to a worse health state. And of course, that's a good thing, right? Because it means they'll be in better health states with better health-related quality of life. They will save money by not being in those worse health states, right? Where the other healthcare costs are greater. But it takes time for treatment B to have this positive benefit, and it doesn't happen immediately. Okay, so we're now on to step 6.6. Calculate the total incremental net monetary benefit. So we enter a formula into BM23, and again we've got all of these cycles. I'm going to just press the hide columns button to hide most of them. And we do need to account for the half cycle correction, and so we can either spend our time trying to figure that out, or we can just go back to the discounting sheet. Any one of these, like this one here, the aggregated qualities for treatment A, let's just copy that. It accounts for the half cycle correction. We'll go into incremental net monetary benefit. And because we're dealing with dollars, it's very important not to paste the formatting, just paste the formula. And you see, this is going to work because it just references these cells here. And it sums them, accounting for the half cycle correction, accounting for what the time horizon is. And yeah, it likes it. So right now, given the costs of treatment A, the cost of treatment B, the costs of being in each state, the utility values, all the transition probabilities, all of this stuff, right now over the time horizon, we have a negative incremental net monetary benefit with treatment B, right? So that's not looking too good. So that's the end of task 6, and I'll see you in the next video for task 7.